So, you're a big soda company like Coca-Cola, and you're having the time of your life. People are guzzling down more soda than water.
This smart young hostess knows there's nothing like giving folks what they want. When it comes to refreshment, what everybody wants is a Coke.
The American consumer had become addicted, consuming nearly 50 gallons of soda a year per person, which is the equivalent of filling up this trash can with soda and drinking it every year. But by the early 2000s, trouble was on the horizon. The masses are starting to become more aware that soda is actually very, very unhealthy.
A new government report says those sodas and sugary drinks that we all love so much are making the country's obesity problem worse. The report says sugary drinks such as non-diet sodas, energy drinks, sweetened bottled waters, sports drinks, and fruit drinks have been linked to weight gain, a poor quality diet, and in adults, type 2 diabetes.
Major headline about your health tonight with a question mark for anyone who drinks sodas with that caramel color, a chemical that in some cases has been linked to cancer in mice.
The other study found that people who drank at least 2 sugar-sweetened soft drinks a day had a higher risk of death from digestive diseases. And those who drank artificially sweetened drinks had an increased risk of death from diseases that affect the circulatory system. And both groups had an increased risk of death from Parkinson's disease. I mean, this is alarming.
The researchers analyzed 10 years of data where people gave detailed information about their eating and drinking habits. Over that decade, 5% developed dementia. Drinking at least one artificially sweetened beverage a day more than doubled the risk of dementia.
They started to realize that consuming soda led to horrible things like weight gain, diabetes, tooth decay, heart disease, cancer, maybe even death. That soda doesn't have one single nutrient or vitamin in there, just sugar. That soda was found to be very addictive thanks to its high sugar and caffeine content. So for the first time, people started drinking less soda. This is horrible. If you want to keep Americans addicted to your bubbly sugar water, you need to find a way to change the narrative, to instill just a tiny bit of doubt in the public's mind that maybe a little bit of soda here and there isn't all that bad. God forbid people didn't drink a giant trash can worth of soda every year. But fear not, because we have a tried and true blueprint to follow. It's the same blueprint that other unhealthy industries like big tobacco followed once the meddling public started realizing their product wasn't so healthy. Propaganda. If you want to change the masses' mind on something, you've got to go to the influencers they listen to and get them to promote the truth you want. In terms of stuff you consume into your body, the most important influencers the masses listen to are the scientists and doctors. Scientists and doctors have this magical aura around them, where the masses believe every word that comes out of their mouth as long as they're wearing a white lab coat. When, in reality, scientists and doctors are human, so they are just as corruptible as you and I are. So what do? You systematically pay off doctors and health organizations to get the masses to believe the idea that, hey, maybe soda isn't all that bad. And it goes a little something like this. Stay dangerous, and this is the evil business of soda.
Whereas soda is this artificial modern one.
So when scientific evidence comes out that suggests that too much sugar in soda is harmful to people's health, simply cancel it out by paying flexible scientists to say otherwise. Have them say it's not soda's fault you're fat, it's your fault, because you don't exercise enough. Lack of exercise is the cause of obesity in America, not soda and poor diet. What's powerful about this is that it's still 100% true. If you don't burn off more calories than you consume via exercise, you will get fatter. Why are you blaming soda when you should be looking in the mirror? Which we still agree with. On top of that, look, we do have sugar-free and diet versions of our drinks, so you can't blame us for your bad choices. Step 2. Fund a bunch of health organizations. This is along the same lines as the last tactic. The masses believe stuff that official-sounding health organizations say. So when an organization like the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics puts out a statement supporting moderate soda intake instead of cutting it out altogether, people listen. I mean, it's the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, for God's sake. So the more health groups you can give money to, the better. It's an investment in the long term. It gives you a trustworthy mouthpiece that people believe in. Little do they know, it's big soda companies like you behind the scenes, giving these groups money to say whatever you want. Because remember, we don't need to stamp out all the negative information out there about soda. A teeny tiny bit of doubt is all we need. Because even if there's conflicting information out there, who doesn't want to believe that their favorite soda is actually okay and not deadly at all? You just need one reputable looking source to justify the masses' bad behavior, and you're golden. Step 3. Build a subtle association between health and soda. At first, this may sound impossible. How am I supposed to do that? But it's actually rather simple. You just need a lot of money.
Money.
First off, sponsor everyone's favorite sports teams. Plaster your logo all over the world's biggest arenas and stadiums. Pay to be the official partner for the biggest sports leagues and games, like the prestigious Olympics, which Coca-Cola has been a long-standing partner of. Coca-Cola also supports the Paralympic Games and everything else, from soccer to football to NASCAR and more. But why stop there? Partner up with beautiful, famous celebrities to endorse soda. Then go into the music industry, the gaming industry, the movie industry. All of this subtly connects the idea of soda with health, beauty, fitness, and fame. So whenever a consumer is at the soda aisle at the grocery store, contemplating on whether or not they should buy that 12-pack of sugary, delicious soda, their tiny voice in the back of their subconscious says, well, it can't be that bad if literally the entire modern economy is sponsored by Coca-Cola. All of these tactics mixed together makes the masses just comfortable enough with soda that they keep drinking it. But don't go anywhere yet, because that's just the marketing side of things. What about the production side? The ingredients that make up our beloved drinks. How did they get Americans guzzling down a giant trash can of soda a year? Once again, it was very systematic. It's the 1950s, and Americans were drinking a fair amount of soda already. But that's just not enough. Nope. You want them to drink even more soda. The problem is, it's hard to get customers to purchase more bottles, more cans, more cups of soda. When people go to a fast food joint, they only ever order 1 cup of soda for themselves. There's no reason for them to buy 2 cups of soda for themselves. So we gotta attack it from a different angle. See, getting people to buy more of your product isn't the only way to make more money. There is another, much more cunning way to make more money off of the same customer base. So you spark up a friendship with fast food chains and convenience stores, the types of businesses that already sell a lot of soda every day. And you guys come up with a little plan that will get everyone chugging down more soda than ever before. Because the more soda swallowed means the more money you stand to make. See, at the time, fast food chains like McDonald's or Burger King were only offering teeny tiny little 7-ounce cups of soda to their customers. That's basically half a can of Coke in 2022. It was absurd. Think about how tiny that is. Think about how much money was left on the table just because these chumps were selling your soda in small cups. You can't get people to buy more than 1 cup for themselves, but you can make them buy bigger cups. Bigger cups meant that stores could sell them for a higher price, which meant that customers would fill them up with more soda, which meant that the stores would have to buy more soda from you. It was a win-win. So you slowly started sizing up. First, you released bigger bottles of soda in the stores. Now people could buy anything from the standard 6.5-ounce bottle to a king-sized 26-ounce bottle. And since there were suddenly monster-sized soda bottles all over the place, people gradually got comfortable with the idea of drinking more soda per sitting. It was still just 1 bottle after all. And so for decades, the largest size of soda people could buy was your amazing 26-ounce bottle. But it was still less than a liter. We can do better than that. Enter the Big Gulp. It's the 1980s, about 25 years since you started your mission for getting soda sizes bigger. People have become accustomed to drinking a lot more soda. They need it to wash down the massive, oily burgers and fries most fast food chains are selling. So you and 7-Eleven decide to step it up a notch. So 7-Eleven launched the Big Gulp.
For about the same price, 7-Eleven's Big Gulp gives you the freedom to enjoy a bigger Coke, 45% more. And if you prefer Pepsi, they don't have it. But 7-Eleven's Big Gulp gives you another kind of freedom. Freedom of choice.
It took things to the next level. 32 ounces. The Big Gulp allowed customers to buy 4 times more soda than before. You sold 4 times the amount of soda to the same customer without them needing to buy 4 cups of soda. But why stop there? Just 6 years later, they released the 44-ounce Super Big Gulp. That was already more liquid than the average stomach can hold. Then a couple years after that, 7-Eleven brings its customers the Double Gulp. 64 ounces of soda.
And why on earth would anybody want this much soda when they could have this much soda? Our stomachs, by the way, in case you don't know this, our stomachs are the size of our fists. That's really how large our stomachs are. I can fit my entire arm.
And by 2006, 7-Eleven released its greatest creation yet, the Team Gulp. A massive 1-gallon jug of soda ready for purchase. But that was just 7-Eleven. The big fast food chains weren't far behind with their jumbo drinks. Your plan to increase the average order volume worked perfectly. A few years back, it would have taken over 18 different customers to sell a gallon of soda. But now, a single person easily buys a single gallon of soda. It was beautiful. And all of this came at the cost of the health and lives of countless people. And that's none of your business, obviously. People choose to drink soda. You don't force them to. But if you thought that was it, you are so sadly mistaken. After World War II, Coca-Cola's business exploded. But you had a problem: caffeine. See, at the time, you had been using cola nuts for caffeine. But they grew far away. There weren't enough of them to meet demand, and where the caffeine came from didn't really matter. Caffeine was all the same. So Coca-Cola needed to find a new source of caffeine that was cheaper and more abundant. Enter tea leaves. At the time, the world was going through a tea drinking craze, which meant there were a lot of damaged, broken tea leaves that Westerners didn't want to buy. So they were left rotting in warehouses. And guess what? These tea leaves contained that sweet caffeine. But even leftover tea leaves weren't enough to feed the machine that is Coca-Cola. If Coca-Cola was gonna take over the world, you were gonna need an even more stable supply of caffeine. So that's when you enlisted the help of a little-known company called Monsanto and ordered them to come up with a synthetic caffeine. If you could create a synthetic caffeine made in a lab, you would have complete control over the supply. No more dealing with pesky cola nut farmers or damaged tea leaves. And Monsanto pulled through. They came back with a caffeine made from the chemicals in coal tar.
And in the 40s, in part because of the war, they couldn't get supplies of various things. Once again, we see Coca-Cola turning to Monsanto and saying, hey, Monsanto, you've supplied us with caffeine, saccharin, all these things. Can you make synthetic caffeine? And Monsanto does. They figure out a way to make synthetic caffeine from coal tar.
Yes, actual coal tar, a byproduct of processed coal. That was what we were gonna shove down the throats of the public. And it worked. No one was gonna think to ask where the caffeine in their drink came from. As long as it tasted good, no one would bat an eye.
Seems logical that their thinking is, wait a minute, consumers are never going to ask where their caffeine comes from. Look at everyone I've ever talked to. No one knows where their caffeine comes from, right? And so they do switch to synthetics. And if you go to their website, it's great. It says, we source our caffeine from tea leaves, so that waste tea leaf story is still part of it, the coffee beans, decaf coffee, and then appropriate sources.
The supply problem was solved, and customers didn't know the difference. Successfully creating artificial caffeine was the success Monsanto needed to put them on the map. After that, Monsanto had nowhere to go but up. They went on to create so many things that benefit humanity, like Agent Orange, the poison that was sprayed over Vietnam, destroying the lives of locals and veterans. Then there were PCBs, then herbicides, then genetically modified seeds, then seed licensing, to where today, Monsanto practically owns the entire world's food supply. In 2021, Coca-Cola spent more money on advertising than any other beverage company in the world, with a marketing budget of over $4 billion. That's 222 times more than the revenue of the Super Bowl, and more than the GDP of a bunch of small nations. It's insane. I mean, Coca-Cola is already ranked as the strongest brand in America, so why spend all this money advertising a product that everyone already knows? Because even though people don't realize it, a lot of viewers spend the rest of their day subconsciously thinking about soda. The taste, the bubbles, it's all just so satisfying. So when they finally come across one at the grocery store or at a restaurant, they order it. After all, soda is sold at almost every establishment on the planet. Millions of people seeing a Coca-Cola commercial and ordering one drink can make the company billions. Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are already in your seltzers, your sports drinks, your coffee, your milk, your alcohol, your fruit juices, and much, much more.